This morning's guest answers questions about garage sales and parking meters and everything in between. Who is he? You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Holiday Inn West on the Waterway. We're focused on the city of Myrtle Beach, and we're visiting with its public information officer, Mark Kruea. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Greg.
Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
I'm glad to do it.
This is tremendous to get you in. That's right, on a Tuesday morning. I hope you had a great Memorial Day yesterday.
I did. It was a nice weekend. The weather cooperated, so that was good.
It did. That's right. I believe you said the folks with the city of Myrtle Beach were working yesterday.
Yes, Memorial Day is a regular work day for the city of Myrtle Beach. It's a tourism destination, so we have people who are in town. We're providing the service. It just makes it easier for everybody to work. It's kind of an all-hands-on-deck sort of day. So we all work Memorial Day.
I got to admit, I wish I'd known that. I did not take my trash out to the street yesterday morning.
Yes, we will pick it up on that Monday.
I didn't take it out yesterday morning because of I assumed that everyone was going to be taken off. I hadn't even thought to think, when are they going to pick it up? But I didn't take it out. So that was very interesting. What about a lot going on in the city? And, of course, recently a heck of a lot not only being passed, but a lot happening with City Council.
It is busy, and City Council traditionally is busy. We actually passed a budget last week for the first time in May that I ever can recall. We normally take until late June to pass the budget. $133 million spending plan for next year. That includes operating expenses, debt reserves, and then capital improvement projects, those bricks and mortar sort of things that we do. But that's behind us now, which is just a very good thing. No tax increase in the budget, and that's another
fantastic.
Good thing.
Absolutely. Is that markedly larger than past years? Or?
It fluctuates from year to year depending upon how many capital improvement projects there are. It's in the 4 to 5% increase on the operating side, but the capital improvement projects does move up and down. So I think it is the largest budget that we've had.
$133 million.
Yes.
And of course, Mike Shelton having been with the city for quite a few years.
Yes.
I'm sure he has followed that meticulously year after year.
Mike is the budget director, and it's his baby until it's done.
Right.
And then Mike breathed a sigh of relief when the city council passed it. And council was very complimentary. They complimented Mike for making the process as smooth as it was this year, as easy as it was.
I saw some pictures that Steve had of Mike recently. I'm sure that not only the city, but obviously all residents wrapping around that very arduous process. I guess that's a year-long process.
It really does start in late November, December, and continues with a budget retreat in the spring, and then actual budget workshops. The city manager has to present a balanced budget to city council. That occurs, and then council pushes and pulls in places where it has some interest. And we've had a very easy year, all things considered.
Right. So, any interesting points in there that folks may not have thought about back in November that shaped up?
Maybe so. There's no tax increase, and that's great. There are some minor fee increases. There's an extra $1 per month, I think, on solid waste collection, which still keeps our solid waste collection below what the market is.
Right.
We've put money back in for an Independence Day celebration, so we'll have an Independence Day celebration. I think it's Sunday, July 1st at 5 o'clock. Starts at 5. Gates open at 5 o'clock over at Coastal Federal Field.
Great.
So it's picnic, bring the families, no glass containers, but everything else. Picnic on the outfield, it's free.
Right.
We'll have the Andrew Thielen Big Band.
Oh, they're fantastic.
They really
Absolutely.
are great. This will be a salute to our war veterans.
Right. So
and then
many
we'll have
here.
Fireworks at the end of that. So that's
sure.
Great.
Sunday, July 1.
Right.
Okay.
Other budget items, we've got money in there for some more sidewalks, for example. Money for Crabtree Gym renovation.
Oh, yeah, sure, on the former Air Force Base, right.
It's about a $6.2 million project.
Is that right? Those are good numbers.
Fortunately, some of the developers who've come online at the former Air Force Base are helping pay for that project.
O'Neill and McCaffrey and some others. Good.
Since their new residents will take full advantage of that
Assumably.
recreation center. So those are some of the bigger points, I guess, in the budget.
You highlight some great things later in the week. We've got Harold Stowe with us on Thursday, the chairman. And in prepping for his interview this Thursday, I noticed he's been chairman and on that board and had formerly been on the Myrtle Beach Redevelopment Authority board prior to your arrival in town. I'm not asking you questions about it, but it's fascinating to see a lot that's happened on the former Myrtle Beach Air Force Base, and great, exciting centerpiece for the city.
The Redevelopment Authority, Buddy Stiers is the executive director, have done a tremendous job out there. If you haven't driven Faro Parkway lately, you need to go look at it with the trees and the lights and the medians and the park, the lake there that the city has built. That's a tremendous asset to the city. And then McCaffrey with Market Common is under construction right now on about 110 acres. Right there at the center of the former Air Force Base. And then Rob O'Neill with Withers Preserve will come online, and Lennar with Coventry.
So Lennar is the other big one.
Lennar is the other big project, and that's going to be called Coventry, I guess.
I didn't know that. Great. I've seen some of their signs. Withers Preserve, of course, is coming on fast, and the Herald obviously is located on the former Air Force Base and the Fox 43 studios. So to see what's happened since we moved in there back in '97 over the last decade has been very exciting. Speaking of that, how long have you been a public information officer?
Since September of '98.
Okay.
So coming up on 9 years, I guess.
Yes, that's right. Fantastic. Are you originally from the area?
I grew up in North Carolina. Vacationed here in the Myrtle Beach area as a child. Have lived in South Carolina before, and I'm happy to be back in South Carolina and along the coast, too.
Right, yeah. And you did you attend school in the Carolinas?
I did. I went to Wake Forest University.
Oh,
you're familiar with that.
Yes. How about those Demon Deeks this
Absolutely.
year? Did you go to the Orange Bowl?
I did not go to the Orange Bowl.
Oh,
did
no.
you get there?
I did not, but I had dinner with somebody recently who did and talked about it. I think he said there are currently 56,000 living alums for the Wake Forest University, and that they sold 18,000 tickets to alums for that game.
Great.
So the biggest showing of alums anywhere in the history of the university.
Great. Well, that was a good boost for Wake Forest this year.
Absolutely. A tremendous recognition. Of course, hopefully the coach will be around for many years to come. So it looks like he's in for the long haul. When we think about the city of Myrtle Beach, Mark, of course, a lot of folks, when they think about Myrtle, whether they're in California or in Tennessee or even in Charlotte, they may think about it as that sprawling area from the state line almost down to Georgetown. And, of course, you have to face that on a regular basis.
That's true. The visitors from Ohio or New York or Canada really don't care where the jurisdictional boundaries fall, but from a government standpoint, we need to know where our police cars stop their service, where our fire trucks stop their service. So the city limits are important to us. For the most part, they're on this side of the waterway. A little bit of Grand Dunes crosses the waterway. Actually, for the most part, they're on this side of the bypass.
Right.
For that matter. And South Carolina's annexation laws are so strict that it's difficult for cities to grow in South Carolina.
Is that right?
It really is true.
I don't think I knew that. The annexation laws are really that difficult.
Very much so. In North Carolina, for example, a developed area, a town can say, gee, this is urbanized, we're going to annex this area. It really is part of the city, even though it's not part of the city, but we'll annex it, we'll provide services over the next 2 years. Welcome to the city. In South Carolina, you have to be contiguous to the city, and you have to petition to be annexed. So
is that right?
It's in the property owner's hands in South
as opposed to the other way around?
Correct.
Correct. For our viewers in the PD in southeastern North Carolina who are coming down to Myrtle this summer, they're really going to enter Myrtle Beach if they're coming, let's say, from Calabash or down Highway 17 bypass. They enter Myrtle Beach around, is it around the Carolina Opry area?
Yeah, it is. Carolina Opry itself is not actually in the city.
Is that right? Okay.
But just on the southern end of Restaurant Row, that's where you'll begin to hit Myrtle Beach. And then it runs all the way down to the former Air Force Base.
Okay, so the former Air Force Base is right on the tip.
It is.
Of the city of Myrtle Beach. Well, it is fantastic. And, of course, as you think about that, and when folks hear a $133 million operating budget, you know it would be difficult to do if it was starting on the county line and running down to Georgetown. Yes. But obviously, and the permanent population hovers around.
I think the latest estimate I saw was about 25,000 for the city of Myrtle Beach. Right. And, of course, during the summertime, on the big weekends, from May through September, the population goes up 10 times, maybe even 15 times on the 4th of July, for example. So
within the city of Myrtle Beach.
Within the city of Myrtle Beach. We have to be able to handle those peaks during the summer months.
Tommy Chestnut was with us yesterday talking about the Citizens Police Academy and the new initiative to try to bring students in for the first time, which was very interesting. But, as you think about that dovetails well into parking issues, Mark. A lot that the city's been faced with recently, a lot in all the press about parking issues. What are some of the things that the city residents need to be thinking about?
Well, we have parking meters in the commercial district of the city, which would be 29th Avenue South to the southern city limits, pretty much east of Kings Highway. And then the City Council just recently added parking meters in that little commercial district on the north end from 67th to 75th, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Right.
And they put parking meters just on the street ends there in that commercial district. Mm-hmm. We didn't invent parking meters. Parking meters exist in other parts of the country. So they're not unique to us, certainly,
right.
But they're fairly new for everyone here. This is our 5th year. City Council would like to be able to give local residents, actual city residents, some sort of break on that. So they've passed a decal program that we're still working out the details on that would allow someone who has paid vehicle taxes to the city of Myrtle Beach to get a decal for that vehicle that would allow them to park for free at any of the parking meters.
Oh, great.
Yes. So if you are a property tax-paying vehicle owner, you can get a decal that will allow you to park for free at any of the parking meters.
You say those details are being worked out. Are they soon to be? Is that something that, particularly with, as you say, this Friday is June 1?
Right. We hope to have that in effect by June 30th, in fact.
Spectacular.
And tried to figure out a way to do that. There are about 24,000 vehicles registered in the city of Myrtle Beach.
Right.
So we think we've figured out a way to mail out a notice with a postcard to everybody who has a vehicle that they've paid tax on.
Right.
If they want a decal, not everybody will want a decal. If they want a decal, they'll mail the postcard back to us, and then we'll mail them a decal that'll have a barcode on it. We'll have the license plate number for the vehicle that it belongs on, and the instructions about where to put it.
That's tremendous.
It is. It's a little complex. We don't want to create an under-the-table market for decals, so we want to make sure that they're fairly well controlled.
An under-the-table market,
yes.
Which, of course, could happen. My daughter and I go over to Friendly's a lot next to Family Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we park out oftentimes. The lot's too crowded, so we park out and drop quarters in right out there on whatever avenue that is, a little south of Family Kingdom. And it's a tremendous area and oftentimes very crowded.
It is. There's a cost, though, attached to parking, and we hear from people who live in the area but not in the city of Myrtle Beach, and they've enjoyed all the free parking for all these years.
Right.
But city residents are paying that cost for parking. We have to create the parking spaces, maintain them. Certainly there's a land cost that goes with that. And with the parking meters, we've managed to increase the number of public parking spaces downtown.
Is that right?
So city residents, city taxpayers have been bearing that cost burden.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Council would like to give them a little break.
Absolutely. If a viewer needs to get off to work now or get family off to school, Mark, what's the best number? Or is there a website that the city has for someone to visit to learn more about activities going on in the city?
Certainly the city's website hopefully will have a lot of information for you. www.cityofmyrtlebeach.com.
Okay.
So spell it all out, cityofmyrtlebeach.com. Or you can call my number, 918-1014, 843-918-1014.
Okay. What are some of the questions that are most frequently asked? I know I've been, of course, to the city of Myrtle Beach, and you've got a great page of frequently asked questions. What are some of those that stick out in your mind that you still hear a lot, Mark?
Weddings. We hear about weddings all the time. People want to know how to get married in Myrtle Beach or in Horry County, so that may be the most frequently asked question.
Right.
Everybody wants vacation information. That's easy.
From you, yeah.
That's easy enough to do. I can transfer them to the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
Trouble. They want to know about golf carts, how you drive golf carts on the streets.
Oh, yeah. What's your answer?
Which is a state law. The state law regulates golf carts. You actually have to have a permit for it from the DMV. It costs $5. You have to show proof of responsibility, which means insurance.
Right.
You can only drive it during daylight hours, only within 2 miles of your residence or business. has to be a licensed driver. So your 14-year-old child cannot drive a golf cart. And then you can cross primary streets, but you cannot drive on primary streets. Such as Kings Highway,
right,
for example.